A lit TNT will fall 77 blocks before exploding. Since we don't want to build our farms that tall, we need a way to slow the TNT down so it explodes closer to where it comes from. One common way of doing that is to drop the TNT on a fence gate and then open the fence gate after a while. One limitation of machines like this is that you can't have multiple TNTs in transit at the same time. So if I, for example, have two TNTs, when I open the fence gate, both of them fall down. This means that if you want the TNTs to fall faster, the fence gate needs to remain closed for a shorter time, and that means that your farm ends up being taller. You could have two fence gates stopping the TNT, but that only doubles the performance of the farm. This is a system I took straight from Ilmango's tree farm, and this is basically as advanced as it gets. And also, if you want to have the TNTs explode relatively close to the farm, this is pretty much the maximum speed you can achieve, and as you can see, the machinery is complex. And one problem with complex machinery is that when you're building it, especially in survival, you can easily make a simple mistake. Like, for example, you forget to place this block. And then you go and test your machine and think everything is gonna be awesome. Yes, the fence gate opened. Oh no. Boom. I thought about those two issues a little bit, and I had many problems with machines like this blowing themselves up, so I made up a different design. And this is the design I am using in my farms recently. As you can see, it is much faster, and there is nothing preventing the TNT from falling, so it is very hard for this machine to blow itself up. Now, let's be fair, let's blow it up just to see that no machine is idiot-proof. And in this case, if I make the clock faster than 14 ticks, it will blow itself up, and the reason is that the TNTs are too close to each other when they're falling, so they keep pushing each other up, and they eventually blow up the machine. Let's put the clock back, but if you have a 14-tick clock, this machine should be idiot-proof. You need a little bit unusual TNT duper for this to work. Nothing too complicated, just something like this. I'm not sure exactly whose design this was. I don't remember. I found it many months ago. But this is a TNT duper that shoots the TNTs forward rather than downwards. That's the only reason why I need to use it. The way you place the honey blocks, and there are very many options for how you could configure this, but the one I would recommend is to 1, 2, 3, on the fourth block in front of the TNT, and the top honey should be one block under the TNT. And this is the safe configuration that allows the TNT to blow up 15 blocks below the TNT block, so about here. If you add a fifth TNT there and just let this machine shoot one, it will blow up the lowest block of honey, so we can't use that. 4 is a maximum. You could use 5 blocks if you have this far enough away, but there is no straightforward math you can use for calculating how far the TNT will drop on how many honey blocks, so that requires experimentations. It's perfectly safe to add the honey many blocks further away, and that affects how far it will fall. But it's not a straightforward relationship between how many blocks in front and how many blocks of honey you have. It requires experimentation to figure out. And you don't have to have it 4 blocks in front of this. 3 blocks in front also works. But it looks kind of awkward, and I'm not sure if I like it. The visual glitches get worse, and I'm afraid that something bad could happen. It never has, but it looks like it could. So the best option is to have it 4 blocks in front. Or rather, on the 1, 2, 3, 4th block in front. It is safe to move this pillar of honey with a piston, but you have to be careful that the TNT doesn't hit the piston head, because honey is not exactly full-sized block, so the TNT gets stuck on the inner bit of the honey block. So if it hits a piston or any other full-sized block before it hits the honey, it will start falling straight down. Let's just demonstrate that. It should probably already happen if I do this. As you can see, it falls all 77 blocks. So if we want to have this honey column adjustable, we need to add 2 more honey blocks on top of it. Add a sticky piston here. Oops, there we go. And now the TNTs fall as if there were only 3 honey blocks here. And if I extend this piston, they will be falling higher up as if there were 4 honey blocks. So right now they are falling exactly 15 blocks below. And if we move the pillar up, they should be falling exactly 22 blocks below. And the measurement, like I mentioned before, aren't very straightforward. The best you can do is just measure for yourself. But in the basic configuration that I recommend, so the 4 honey blocks on the 4th block in front of the TNT, they make the TNT explode 15 blocks below. If we reduce it to 3 honey blocks, that makes it explode 22 blocks below. And with 2 honey, that's 33 blocks below. If we move to the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, let's remove that one. So on the 8th block, we can actually add a 5th honey block, and this is the first safe configuration with 5 honey blocks, and this is also the closest you can explode the TNT without it having exploding the honey block, and that is 11 blocks below. You can experiment with more configurations if you want. There is also another potential trick you can do with this, and it is to add side columns of honey here. Like this. And it is a little bit random in exactly which direction the TNT will be flying, and it's also random which of these 3 honey block columns it will slide down on. So if it happens to fly straight forward and get stuck on this, it will fall 33 blocks. If it's gonna fly a little bit to the left and get stuck on this column, it will fly 22 blocks below, and on this one it will be 15. It's a little bit random, and I'm not exactly sure about the probabilities of which column it gets stuck on, but if you want some randomization, this could work. The clocks can of course be slower than 14 ticks, but you just cannot make them faster. You can make them faster only if the column isn't 4 blocks. With 3 honey blocks, I'm pretty sure you could even do a 10 tick clock. Of course, 8 ticks isn't possible because that would make the pulse getting to the piston shorter, so you would need a different clock for this. This is pretty much all I had in this short guide. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments. I'll try to answer anything I understand. And I hope this was useful for you for some contraption. Thanks for watching. Bye!